Welcome to the Light of Sirio podcast. My name is Dori Fari and I will speak with a realized spiritual master about his views on life and the topic of spirituality.
Hazur Maharaj Sanji, you're my Sadgurus, I bow down to you. Hazur Maharaj Sanji, you're my Sadgurus, I love you. Hazur Maharaj Sanji, you're my Sadgurus, I adore you.
So now we arrived to the 8th and therefore last episode of season 5. And I have here with me, as always, Master Sirio in our little studio. So welcome, dear Master.
Hello, dear ones.
It's my pleasure to have this podcast with you. I look forward what's going to come out. And before we begin, I would like to read feedback which somebody wrote under the previous podcast episode. That it goes, another fantastic recollection from Master Sirio. It's an incredible experience for every spiritual seeker to listen to these memories and experiences. The diary excerpt was unbelievable. Thank you. So, yeah, because in the previous episode, we could listen to how retreats were organized in Rajasthan in the ashram of Sant Ajaib, Singh. How was the schedule? How was the atmosphere and everything? And as a conclusion, you also read an excerpt from your personal diary, which was really heart-touching. Like again, sitting in the time capsule, time machine, and going back in time. And so to begin this last episode, I wanted to ask if there was anything personal, very special that you could share with all of us that happened to you in Rajasthan or in India. I mean, because then, of course, you just said that there were no more the retreats in Rajasthan, but in other cities organized, and the retreat center was also built there. So
I want to keep focusing on this 1987 retreat, out of which I read some extracts last time. So for me, these retreats were always very reorienting. As Master Kirpal used to say, the task of the master is to revolutionize the thought patterns of the disciple. So that was always happening whenever I went to attend a program with Sanji, that my perspective was completely upturned or reoriented, and I could see the difference between my approach and understanding of life far away from him and out of these retreats, and when I was close to him and in these retreats. So that's that's the wonderful thing about ourselves, you know. We as human beings, we become very convinced of our own ideas, needs, and direction to be taken in life. But we must be aware that all of this is very much motivated by the state of consciousness we are in. So let's say this week or this last period of my life, I become convinced that I need to do this, I need to do that, I need this change and the other one. Then next week we go to attend a retreat with Master. And as soon as we find ourselves in that charged up atmosphere and our consciousness uplifts, we begin seeing things and perceiving things in a totally different way. So our needs, our priorities do change completely, because now they are motivated by the state of consciousness we have been put just by exposing ourselves to this atmosphere which is around the Master, especially during the retreats. So when I would attend these retreats and listen to the satsangs of the Master, which I always took so seriously, you know, what Master said for me was, as Master Kirpal is Bible truth, Quran truth, Veda truth, means Word of God, as I took it. So whenever I heard him speaking and explaining the perspective of the path from his own point of view, then I would be very, very touched, and very soon my needs, my ideas, my perceptions and desires will be shifted, completely changed. So
I have a question, may I ask?
Yes.
That I remember some episodes back, you said like you had a very deep affinity even on the cellular level with Sanji. That's how you felt. And now it's very interesting that you say that how it was reorientating, or like how it was charming, fascinating to listen to his point of view, how he put truth, how he explained it. Then so how does it appear on the level of affinity? What does it mean, the affinity in this regard? Does it mean that you could easily accept the teachings he gave because you had a deep affinity with him, or did you have a similar view on things? Or so I mean that when he put the teachings in his words, that how was it for you? Like when you think something, and then he puts his teachings, and then these two things meet. And yes, there is the reorientation, but if your perspective is conflicting with that other perspective, then it's more difficult, I imagine.
No, you see, if when I went to a retreat and then went with certain convictions about myself, about my life, about what I should do or not do, and during satsang, it will confirm my point of view. Then I would say, "Oh, I was right. That's what I have to do." But most of the time, what he would say during satsang, it wouldn't go together with what I was thinking before, what I was supposing before. So since I really took very seriously what he said, and I understood that in order to achieve the spiritual realization, the self-realization, which I was so much keen for, it was very important to do what he said and not what I thought or wanted. So right away I took his words very seriously, and most of the time I didn't have to think, I didn't have to choose. I just, as I said, since the level of consciousness was so much changed, I automatically accepted what he said and the direction he gave through his satsang, without fighting with it, without wanting it to be different, because from that uplifted perspective, I could understand that yes, what he's saying is right, and what I thought before was totally wrong, because I was in a state of consciousness which was lower than what it is now, and the ideas I had, the direction I wanted to give to my life before, it was motivated by that level of consciousness. And now that I am in this other level of consciousness, it's obvious that he is right and I was wrong. That's how I took it. So yes, it's a matter of affinity, because to tune in like this right away with the master power and that very powerful vibration which was around him, of course it happened if you had an affinity with this master. Otherwise it wouldn't happen, or it would happen less. But for me it was very, very powerful always when I was with him, and my perspective was always changed. So I would like to read again something from these diaries which I was writing when I was attending these retreats. And this is again from this 1987 one. And what I'm going to read is talking very much about responsibility, to be a responsible person, that we need to make a commitment to the master we choose to follow. And it's not a joke, it's not a play, it's a very serious topic. And it's not that today I feel like doing this and I do it, tomorrow I don't feel like doing it and I don't do it anymore. It's not that today I want to realize God and tomorrow I don't want to realize God. I don't care anymore. No, it's a commitment. It's a bond which you take with this person. And what he says, you must stick to it. And you must be aware also that what you do in your life is not just about yourself. It's very much about the life of others also. You will very often talk about this topic, that what you do is not going to influence only your life. It's not just about you. It's also about the others. Because when we are in a Sangat, we must be aware that what we do is not going to influence only our life. It's going also to influence the life of others. And especially if you are put in a position of responsibility by the master, like being a group leader or a representative as he was, then that's even more, because people look at you, people look at what you do, how you behave, what you say, what you do, and they may be wrongly influenced by your words, by your action, by your lifestyle. So one must be aware that if joins a master, makes a commitment to the work of this master, then there is a responsibility not just towards yourself, but towards everybody, towards the master, yourself, the master in the first place, yourself, and then the others also. So in what I'm going to read, he's talking very much about this topic, that be aware that your actions, your lifestyle, what you do, is not going to either benefit or damage you only. It's also going to benefit or damage others also. So, especially if you are put, as I said, in a position of responsibility, then you have to be very responsible, and you have to be very set a very good example for others also. That's the play in the Sangat, you know. That we can't live just for ourselves. Now, even if you don't have any direct responsibility to the master means if you are not put in a position of responsibility like I was, even then other satsangis will look at you, and what you do and what you say will have an influence on them also. And it's the responsibility of any satsangi to set a good example for everybody. So now I'm going to read this, which explains very clearly this aspect of the path, according to what Sanji was saying in this satsang.
And, may I ask something before you begin to read, just directly connected to this which you said? Because I was, maybe the listeners don't know, but we don't prepare for these podcast episodes to leave it to spontaneity, because then it comes up what comes, the truth emerges. So I'm always very interested to listen to you. And so of course now also I listen to you with great attention. And yes, one thing is that I understand that if the positive influence is in majority in a Sangha, then it pushes the all towards the positive. So yeah, if there are more good examples, then they positively influence everyone. But then especially if somebody is put into a position by the master, asked by the master to perform some tasks or organizing or whatever, as you said, then this is responsibility, and then one has to be a good example. But then what is the good example then? Because then, yes, they look at your lifestyle, they look at how you talk, how you move, how you dress, how everything. And then this is a phenomenon that I see that no matter then how one has really the best intentions and the best dedication according to your best, then it can never be good enough. Because then there is always something that others can find in that other person, like this is not okay, this was not kind, and then on the path we have to be more kind. But maybe in that case one perceives that it was necessary to step up in that way, to take a decision and communicate it firmly. But then maybe you're criticized that you are not, you're not super creamy soft with the people, and on that we should be like this. And so I mean, it's I'm trying to politely ask it from you, because we already mentioned in some episodes before that I already put this question to you once in a letter, when I said that, I don't know, I am trying my best, no, and then I'm doing things, but how to say that, lots of critics, no, then for how I do something, but I mean, I was doing it, others also could have done, but I was doing, and then they said, we are not doing it, but what you do is not good. Please then do it better, no? But I told to you, and then you replied to me in your letter that once Master Kirpal turned with the same problem to Baba Savan Singh, and mentioning him or complaining that he organizes the satsangs as following the instructions of his masters, being a responsible disciple. And then there are many people who only come for satsang, then for the langar, and then they don't do anything else, just criticizing everything, how it's organized, and especially the one who was organizing it. So in this case it was Master Kirpal, and he said to the master that, this is really not good, then what should I do? And Baba Savan Singh said, you see, that if bad people can't stop the bad habits of criticizing, in this case, then why should good people stop their good habits? And anyway, I thought in this podcast I would ask you to say something further about it, that how can we know if we are on the right track? Because yes, we listen to the master when we are in the elevated state of consciousness, we get the proper direction, the proper set of mind, and then we bring it down on our level and try to perform it. And how can we know if we are on the right track, even on the level of any satsang, that what is the good, right, correct behavior?
Well, we must also be aware that people were put in a responsible position. Maybe they're given the task to hold satsang, to be a representative of the master, to give initiation, as I was doing. Yet, there will always be people who will find the way and the motive to criticize. Because that's how it is. And there is this aspect also, that people most of the time do not dare or find it more difficult, let's say, to criticize directly the master for anything. Because the master is not to be criticized. I mean, many people get to this also, be aware of it.
Okay, so the master shouldn't be criticized.
At least for the good people, I mean, those who understand themselves to be good satsangis, they try not to find any way to criticize the master. Those who have some love for the master. At least some love. So what they do, because people need to criticize. Just like people need to go for a war. So criticizing it's
human nature.
It's a first step towards going for a war, you know. And anyway, so they do it with the people who are put in charge. Like at the time of Master Kirpal, there was a lady in Savanashram. She was from Canada. I think she was called Shirley something. No, Edna Shinerock, she was called. And she was put in charge to deal with the Westerners who were present in the ashram, to tell them what to do, what not to do, and give them informations about programs and stuff, you know, everything. And she was the most criticized always by everybody. They always found a way to complain about what she was doing, the way she was doing it, and so on and so forth. At the time of Sanji, there was a lady from the United States, wife of Russell Perkins. She was Judith Perkins, and she was put in charge for organizing the programs. So anybody who wanted to go to Rajasthan, they would have to write to Sambhani Ashram, and she was the one dealing with this correspondence and so forth. And people always found a way to criticize her, to complain about what she was saying, what she was doing. But, you know, I was sometimes talking with Sanjay about this topic, and he always told me, look, what she's doing, it's exactly what I tell her to do. So anyway, this is an aspect of the thing. People always find a way to criticize those who are put in charge, because people do not like to be told what to do or what not to do. They want to, you know, follow their instincts, follow their mind, their ego, and their arrogance. This is innate in every human being. Find a humble, sweet, cooperative person, not so easy. Anyway, this is an aspect of what I was talking, but you know, setting a good example, this is it's an aspect of it. It's about how to organize the work, what's to be done, what is not to be done, how to tell the people which way to tell, which way not to tell. This is one aspect. The other aspect of being a good example is sticking to the teachings, you know. Sticking to the teachings means, what is the main teaching here? Do your spiritual practice. And so a satsangi should do his spiritual practice daily. He should attend satsang or hold satsang if he's in charge for holding satsang. He should set a good example about putting into action, into practice, these main teachings of the master. So, for somebody like me, Sanji always told me, you never go to hold a retreat anywhere, because I was invited in a number of places to hold retreats or to give initiation somewhere. And whenever you go there, you never ask the people to do meditation unless you do it. You be the first one to to do anything that you ask the people to do. So that means that setting a good example is putting into practice the teachings as much as possible, 100%. That's what I meant. And this is what is going to come out from this reading which I'm going to do now. So, this again, I'm translating from Italian, so take it the way it comes. So these retreats with the Master are always extraordinary events in which one goes very deep, as much as we are allowed, in the deepness of ourselves to face, confront with the shadows and the light which alternate in our consciousness. While the Master, sitting on the throne of his wisdom and knowledge, guides in a perfect way our evolution. In the Satsang of yesterday evening, Sanji said that the Guru sends in our life what is the most appropriate things for our growth. Therefore, anything which happens in our life, we should take it always and be aware that it is needed. It is necessary to shake our consciousness, to amplify our perspective. During this day, there was the bhajan singing one evening, in which Sanjay at some point interrupted the singing to give us a pure lesson of Guru Bhakti. He told us such wonderful things, which now I don't remember quite well. But when he began talking, I understood that he was going to give us a teaching of a superior kind about what Guru Bhakti is all about. Then yesterday evening, Satsang was also extraordinary. Master talked about the importance to be pure. Besides doing the meditation, that God, our beloved, will never manifest in a dirty place. Therefore, besides doing the meditation, it's important to make our life pure and undefiled by the dirt of mundane passions. He told us some very funny stories also, which made us laugh a lot. He was also laughing a lot. In fact, this time I see him to be very, very happy, like younger than in the previous times. Yesterday morning there were interviews. So I was up there for my interview and for the interview of the other Italians, more or less for an hour, for half an hour. There were 3 other Italians beside me. It was very sweet looking in his face from so close. I'm always very surprised about how beautiful he is. And I think that it's very rare to find among the son of humans a face as beautiful, pure, radiant, and innocent as his face is. When I came out from that room, his darshan, means his face, his eyes, they were spread all over my body. It was like if I had been dyed with a varnish of his darshan, how to say it. It was like I felt his darshan coloring my whole body. It was a very sweet sensation. Yesterday evening was the last day. It was a glorious day, unforgettable. The retreat, it is set up in such a wonderful way, so that we, by the end of the retreat, we reach the highest point. When the satsang, the monthly satsang happens, this obviously, without doubt, has been the satsang of satsangs, a very relevant one. Sanji was fantastic. He was very, he was a great authority. That's what radiated from him. Sitting on his chair, he makes a great effect on me. His personality stands out incredibly, so much that he looks like a king on his throne, or we could say like Satpurush sitting on his throne. The fact is that enormous, like today, I never saw him. There was a moment in which he seemed like an enormous giant, immersed in a halo of light. So, the retreat is over, but what to say? Everything, sooner or later, it's over. Masters say, what doesn't last forever is Maya, it's an illusion. Well, so this was also an illusion, but a kind of illusion that will lead one to the reality. So I could read much more, but so as I was saying, it's all a matter of level of consciousness. When we are at a very physical level, we become very physical and we have very physical needs. But as soon as our consciousness is uplifted and we begin to withdraw from these our physical needs, we begin to disentangle ourselves from this physical consciousness and this body, then our perspective changes. And what we want to do is to be more and more immersed in the light and uplifted, and be as close as possible to this divine perception, and to have it as deep and continuous as we can. So, of course, when you are in that state, what you want to do is to reduce all your worldly involvement and to spend as much time as you can in meditation and enjoying the bliss and the ecstasy that comes from the spiritual practice. So, that's it. The path is not just for ourselves, as I was saying before. What we do on the path is not just for ourselves. We must broaden our perspective. We must learn how to live, not just for ourselves, but first of all, to please the Master, so that he's happy with us. Because if the Master is not happy with us, with our life, with what we do, with the way we behave, then what are we doing on this path? Then it's useless being on the path. For a devotee of the Master, for a Satsangi, the most important thing is to please the Master, to love the Master and make him love you, because it's a love story. Guru Bhakti, what is it? It's a love story. And we should live it as such and behave in our life as much as we can in a way that pleases the Master and makes him happy. Because why is he doing all this work that he does? He does it so that we improve our life and we made the teachings part and parcel of our life, and we improve ourselves and we realize something great in our life. And if you don't do this, then his work is wasted, his time is wasted, all his efforts are wasted. And what do you think? A person can be happy this way? No, he won't be happy. He will feel that his time has been wasted, and his attempts to improve the people that got to him were also wasted. So we don't want this. We want the Master to be happy. And we want the Master to be happy with us and consequently in his life, make his life happy. And we can do it only if we put the teachings in practice in our life, if we practice them and make our life successful. That's the play in a spiritual path. That's the play in relating with the Master. That's how we can make the path work for us or not work for us. It's up to us. We have to decide for ourselves.
Well, it is just as the quote that was written on the inside of the front cover of the latest volume of Sirio magazine from Master Kirpal, that truth is high, but even higher is a true living.
That's right.
And as you also write in one of your songs that how it goes, that truth is la verità è Dio, ma Dio non è la verità se non è applicata nella vita, that truth is God, but God is not the truth if it's not applied in life.
Yes, this goes together with the saying of Master Kirpal again, in which he said, to see God it's easy, to become a real human being it's not easy, it's difficult. So God is meaningful and acquired meaning. I mean, God's experience or experiencing something divine, it acquires meaning if that divinity then is translated into action, into a lifestyle. Otherwise, that experience is just in itself, for itself. It doesn't produce any fruits.
Yes, but I think also there is another aspect of all this, which was said, that it is very, very important to be aware of this truth being present in our life, and the Master and the teachings being present in our life. Because I just mentioned this third volume, the latest volume of Sirio magazine, and in this volume, some Satsang wrote articles about what does it mean, having the Master in our life. How is the Master present in our everyday life when we're at home? And yes, this is like the other side of the coin, no? That, okay, we do our spiritual practice, we are devoted to the Master, we have love for the Master, we are trying our best. And anyway, that in the little everydays, then how much are we aware of little things that do happen, like little miracles. And we must be aware of this, and we must be thankful for this, because then I think that's the proper way how the energy can really flow in between the Master and the disciple. And I'm not talking about big things, because these words which you said, maybe people feel it like, oh, it's such a high, such an elevated thing, which is, but in reality, somehow truth also is very simple. And we just have to understand it. like, it's a very stupid example. Just I also wrote an article in this magazine, and I mentioned there that when everything like perfectly happens in your life, and even when things go wrong, but then, you know, little things, then when you have to hurry somewhere and then everything is jam-packed and there is no parking place with the car. And then even recently 3 times it just happened to me that I had to go somewhere. I was almost late and I really needed a parking slot. And then somebody or just goes away, or I just go in a direction and there is no place, but there is just one where I'm going. And maybe there are other cars behind me, and then I park and then I arrived. I know it's a little example, it's a foolish thing, but I'm aware that what does it mean if we bring this truth into our life, if we are really, if we are flowing with the Master, with the energy of the Master, with the teachings of the Master, and we live this kind of responsibility, which initiation means to be connected to the Master, it really makes miracles, and even to the tiniest detail.
Okay, I want to give another perspective now. If you go somewhere and somehow you don't find...
Oh, no, please.
You don't find the parking place, and you maybe don't find the person with whom you have to do whatever you have to do, or something goes wrong and doesn't go according to your plans, then in that case also try to see the Master's hand at work and understand that that thing which you were supposed to do is not to be done. That's all. So if it is things are gone this way, which is not the way you planned them, it means that the way you planned them was not the right way. The right way is just as they happen. So then accept humbly and willingly whatever happens, understanding that this is what God wants. And God, in this case, what I wanted is not what God wants or wanted. So accept and humbly surrender to His will.
Yes, that's true. And actually, I want to say how important this podcast is, because I myself, my little me, even myself, I learned a lot from these conversations. And especially there was that one which we had on free will. So is there free will and how is it? And then really it is, just as you said in this podcast now, a little while ago, how the Master reorientates the thought patterns of the disciple. And for me, that episode was really reorientating. Then, I mean, even before I had this understanding that everything comes from the Master and things are good and perfect, and yes, we have to accept, but that really made a revolution in my understanding how things to happen in a perfect way. And I really see things or life with different eyes since then, because you gave an other perspective how to look at things. And yes, I could I don't want to be long on these foolish things, but I could give just 5 recent examples when it happened that I wanted something, I wanted to talk with somebody, and then everything went totally different. And how I understood that it was just perfect, and how it helped me right away when I see that, something is not going, then it's okay, just give it up, let it go, let's not fight, because this is just good like this. But this also is like one needs to tune in with the Master to understand when to trouble yourself and when not to trouble yourself. But I think it's if one pays attention, actually the path opens up and it always shows you what is the right and what is the wrong. So this way we get all the help to understand a little bit. I am replying my question, how to know when we are on the right track, giving a good example. Because if we are sincere in our intentions, if we are sincere in our heart, if we are devoted to the Master, if we have that really sincere and true love for the Master, then we can't be really wrong if we listen to his teachings and apply them in our life, because then the path always reveals itself. And whenever we look, whenever we step, the path is just under our feet.
That's right.
So thank you very much, dear Master, to have this.
Thank you, and everybody who will listen to this.
And then those who would like to try the spiritual practice, as also was advised by Master Sirio, to find the pleasure and the joy in the practice, then I recommend to you to, if you haven't yet done, to look up the Daily Guidance Meditation podcast, where daily a new episode is published, helping you in your meditation practice. And what else to say? Well, if you're interested, you can find on the SirioSatsang.com website the Sirius magazine. I think people like it because many positive feedback comes about the magazine. So I'm very happy about this because I really put lots of efforts in making it, and the real paying is that people are happy with it. That was my true purpose, to share.
During Sanji's time, when there were questions and answers, and people would ask any question, he would say, look, from your question, I understand very well that you don't read the Sambani magazine. Because if you read the Sambani magazine, then this question has already been answered several times. So you know what you do, go and read the Sambani magazine. So this applies also to this magazine. We should read it, because I also read it, and I find it very inspiring and very interesting. So it's there as a helping factor for all of us.
So thank you for your appreciation, dear Master, and I am just, I can only repeat again and again, over and over, anything good that comes out of this humble instrument of yours, this is me, then I'm just so happy, because it's just a reflection, a little reflection of your, small reflection of your greatness and your resplendent wisdom and light that you shed on our lives. So thank you very much for being a continuous source of inspiration, and thank you for being the revolutionizing engine for our thought patterns, and thank you for making yourself available for these conversations. And now we can listen to the beautiful mantra sang by Master Sirio, and as I said, this was the last episode in this season. So from season 6 we continue with questions and answers. So if anybody still has any question in mind, you're most welcome to send it to siriopodcast@gmail.com. And if you like this episode, you're most welcome to leave a comment underneath and share it with others maybe who might be interested, and maybe share even the Sirius magazine if you like it and you know anybody interested, then most welcome. So thank you again, Master, and next episode, as always, comes after 2 weeks.
May God bless all of us.
And may God and the Master bless all of us.
Hazur Maharaj Sanji, you're my Sadgurus, I bow down to you. Hazur Maharaj Sanji, you're my Sadgurus, I love you. Hazur Maharaj Sanji, you're my Sadgurus, I